Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Sons of Glitch's Wolf. Welcome to Wolf's RPG Corner. I'm still tinkering around with that name. So tonight I'm making a little Gwent tutorial for Witcher 3. I've actually had a few people ask me about this, and thought I'd make a little video and take you guys through it. So, and really quick before we get going, just to confirm that I actually know what I'm talking about here. I have beaten this game a few times. I've gotten every achievement there is to get in it. This is my all-time favorite game. I love it, love it, love it. So, anyway. So, Gwent is a card game within Witcher 3. And it's actually been turned into its own independent game at this point. You can go and get it on the Xbox Store for PC. It's free. Think Hearthstone, but with a Witcher twist. And actually with a little bit more strategy and a little bit more depth, I think. But so anyway, in the standard version, not the multiplayer version, but what we're talking about tonight is the version actually within Witcher 3 itself. You have 4 different factions that you can play as. You can play as the Northern Realms, which is what I tend to do. You can play as the Nilfgaardian Empire, the Monsters, or the Scoia'tael, and if you get into the Blood and Wine expansion, you can play as the Skellige deck. Sorry, it took me a minute to remember which one it was. But in any case, so but it doesn't really matter. Play whatever you want. You can win with all the factions. They all have their perks. I just personally prefer Northern Realms. So you have a bunch of different leader cards that you can choose. They all give you a special ability that you can use once during the course of the game. Pick whichever one you want. It's kind of up to you. I usually pick Siege Master, playing on Northern Realms, just because it basically gives you an additional combat bonus once during the game. So I'm going to stick with that. And you've got certain different types of cards, as you can see here. Some of them are gold, some of them are not. Golden cards cannot be destroyed by things like Scorch over here, which, as you can see, discard after playing kills the strongest cards on the battlefield. Well, that doesn't work against golden cards. Neither do any of the status effect cards. So something like Torrential Rain, Impenetrable Fog, or Biting Frost reduces combat values to 1. Well, that doesn't work on golden cards, but it does work on regular ones. By the same token, Commander's Horn doubles the strength of the unit cards in that row. Doesn't work on golden cards. And then Decoy lets you swap out cards on the battlefield and return them to your hand, which is very, very useful. So the thing that I'll tell people, just sort of basics, I'm not going to go through every single card. There's just not enough time, but you really do have to go in and read the cards a little bit and have a look at what they do. So, for example, just looking at this, you would never know what it does. You have to go in and read the card. Destroy your enemy's strongest close combat units if the combined strength is 10 or more. Really, really great card. But if you don't read it, you're not going to know that. So you have to actually read the cards when you get them. And it's not, it doesn't take much effort to actually do that. So anyway, I think the best way to sort of give a walkthrough here is not to just go through the cards and talk about them like that, but to actually go in and play a game. So that'll make it easiest. And let's see, I'll play against Ioana. She's got a pretty good deck. Care to play Gwent? Oh, sure. Let's set a bet amount.
Up for a few rounds of Gwent?
How about a round of cards? Gwent wouldn't be bad. So before every game, you get to tweak your deck, do whatever you want with it. Just from a general strategy point, you can see in the center there, total cards in deck, number of unit cards, special cards. You've got a certain number that you have to have in your deck. The closer you can stay to, like, you have to have 25 unit cards in your deck. The closer you can stay to that number, the better off you are. The fewer cards you have in your deck, the better the chance is that you'll get to draw them over the course of a game. All right. So when you draw your initial hand, you don't draw a card every round or anything like that. So these are the cards, theoretically anyway, that you're going to have for the whole game. So there are cards like Thaler here or Dijkstra that will let you draw additional cards. These are spy cards. You throw them down on your opponent's side, they let you draw extra cards. So those are really good. Want to hang on to those. Regis. So you can mulligan 2 cards. Looking for better stuff. So I'll play this hand here. So you see we've got 3 rows on each side. You have a melee row, which is here, a ranged row, and a siege weapon row. And all the cards have a really nice, easy little thing to tell you where they fit, right? So obviously I've played this game a lot. I'm playing with a deck that's got cards in it. I've got every card you can get in the game, so I've basically put together the best deck that is available in the game. But when you start out, you're not going to have that. But the opponents you play early on are pretty easy. You should be able to beat them with whatever you have early in the game. But what I usually do is I will take my best spy card. In this case, it's Thaler here. And I'll throw that down on the enemy side. And right away, boom, 2 extra cards. So now it's my opponent's turn to go. They passed right away. So once your opponent passes, all you have to do is make sure that your strength over here, see that 6 and that 1? All I have to do is make sure that that number is higher than my opponent's number, and I win the round. So right now, I've won. You have 3 rounds in each game. Best 2 out of 3 wins. All right. So the main thing that you want to do here is make sure that you have more cards in your hand than your opponent heading into the final round. So right now I do. I've got 11 cards in my hand. He's got 10 cards in his. But the AI doesn't tend to pass on the first round, so I'm kind of curious about what's going on here. So let's just throw down a card and see what happens. Okay. So I want to make him burn some cards here, but I don't really want to spend all my stuff. So I've got a high value attack card here. This is probably going to make him spend at least 1 or 2 of their cards. So I'm just going to throw this down, and that'll force him to play a couple of his. Now, here we go. All right. So this card that he put down, and again, you got to go in and read the cards, has an ability called Muster attached to it. You see those 2 little helmets? Find any cards with the same name in your deck and play them instantly. So any vampire cards that he has in his deck get called onto the board here. But I'm still in pretty good shape. He's only ahead by 7. So this would be a good thing. But he is ahead, and I'm around ahead, so wouldn't really hurt anything to throw down another spy card, draw a few extra cards. All right, so at this point, I've got 10 cards in my hand. The computer's got 7. He's ahead by a pretty substantial margin, 51 to 15. So at this point, it's probably the best thing for me. The best thing for me to do is just pass, right? I would have to spend a whole bunch of cards to get back to get up to where he is. I don't want to do that. I'd rather have my cards for the last round. All right. So now it's really a question of playing things in the right order to make sure that I can counteract anything he does. Because this is it. I'm not going to get any more cards. I've got what I've got. So you see, so this card, for example, placed next to a card with the same name to double the strength of both cards. So I want to make him use any card removal that he's got on cards that don't have something like this. So I've got these 2 guys and these 2 guys, which will double their power when I lay them down next to each other. But that's not going to work if he removes one of them. So the first thing I'll do is just throw down this guy, because he doesn't have anybody who's depending on him. He doesn't have any status effect that might come in handy. Same thing with this gold card here. Got that muster ability again. Alright, so this guy that I talked about in the deck building section, destroy your enemy's close combat units if the combined strength is 10 or more. Well, he's got 3 close combat units, 4 each, combined strength of 12. Watch what happens when I throw this guy out. Boom, gone. Yeah, see? Turnabout's fair play. Alright. So I want to be a little bit careful here. He's only got 2 cards left. Pretty fair bet that he's not going to be able to stop me at this point. So like I said, the big thing is to make sure that you've got more cards than your opponent heading into the final round. I've got 5, he's got 1. It's basically a foregone conclusion now that I've won this game because he's got 1 card left. There's nothing he can do. See? Passed. So that's an automatic win for me. So I can throw down more cards or until I'm ahead, or I can pass. So you see these guys doubled their strength once I threw them down next to each other. There were 5s in my hand, now they're 10s. I can boost them with Commander's Horn, double their strength. Same thing with these catapults, double their strength. And I can boost them even more with my leader ability. 124 to 39. Boom. That's it. And that's the game. And that's really it, guys. It's not terribly complicated. It's not terribly difficult once you figure it out. It's really about putting the right cards on the board at the right time. Once you understand how the game works, it's very simple and very straightforward. Gwent, in and of itself, is in Witcher 3, is fairly basic. The standalone version of Gwent is much more complicated. But this version, once you get a grip on it, I can't tell you the last time I lost a game of Gwent in Witcher 3. It's been a long time. But that's really all there is to it. I mean, I didn't show you every single mechanic, but they're pretty self-explanatory. Choose 1 card from your discard pile and play it instantly. You know, no heroes or special cards. Okay, you get to pull something out of your graveyard. Easy enough. Yeah, stuff like that. Spy cards, power increase cards. But it's not terribly difficult. If anybody has any questions about anything specific, leave a comment on the video. I'm happy to answer it. But that's about it. Thanks, everybody.